So here's the next one, Jack. Take it away.
Right, these are bombardment barges, basically armed with a 13-inch siege mortar. I think they call them the Dictators.
Right.
And I mean, say four of these might have been towed by a steam-powered ship, basically moored the edge of the riverbanks, and it was these particular vessels that really bombarded Vicksburg and really pounded the city. They would have used solid shot or explosive shot, and like what we were saying before, it's these cannonballs would have been timed on a timer.
Yeah, on a lit fuse, yeah.
Lit fuse.
And you can see there, Jack's got the calipers that they picked the ball. Two men would lift that ball up and drop that down inside the mortar there. That is a mortar.
A solid shot would have weighed 220 pounds.
Wow, and two blokes lifting it up. Unless there must have been four men on that, Jack, I reckon.
No, two men.
Two men?
Two men, yeah.
God, blimey, again, they didn't need a gym, this lot. No wonder
these were tough guys.
Naval men were tough.
And the
Popeye with the big muscles. Good God.
Stand upon, when the ship was ready for firing, it would have been a long 10-yard, right?
Yeah.
They would have got out of here and fired the ship. They fired the gun.
Yeah.
These guns, they weighed 10.5 tons, and they would have moved back. They would have jumped.
Stone the crows.
It would have vibrated the raft. I
mean, these are siege pieces, as you say. Yeah, absolutely. You can see that it's a siege piece.
Very effective.
And why this is such a good idea is because normally in sieges you've got to transport all this. You've got to basically, if you're going to use the river for transporting, you've got to load it in pieces on board. Then you've got to derrick it off to on the shore, and then you've got to get it in position and build with gabions and all the rest of it. You've got to build a gun position for it, and then you can start bombarding. But coming up a river, it's totally mobile. It's a movable feast. These can move where they like, when they like, and how they like. And the river's taking the weight of the gun. I tell you what, I wouldn't have liked being behind it though when it jumped back. It's got little wheels on it, Jack. What's the story there?
To get that back into reposition.
Oh,
but it's like an inverted
who's
axle.
going to move that, Jack?
Oh, 3 or 4 men.
Get
a long
out.
spike. No, they would have.
What, those spikes sticking out from the other side there? Yeah. I can see it, Jack.
The wheel is round, but it's an off-centre axle. And the idea is to crowbar it up.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind it weighs 10.5 tonne. They've actually done it.
Jack.
They would have crowbarred it up.
So using it as a fulcrum?
Fulcrum, yeah. It would have slowly moved back into position because each and every time it would have moved position.
I love the dirty floor, Jack. I love it.
That's the black powder, yeah.
I know, I love it. That's the attention to detail.
It took 50 pounds of black shot.
Black powder as a propulsive charge. Yeah. Look at the thickness of the walls on that, and the stuff. I mean, mortars go right back into the earliest cannons or black powder artillery, and they were always effective because they're high parabolic trajectory, and you can't do much about them because they're coming down bomb on top.
That's it.
And what did these shot weigh?
The solid shot weighed about 220 pounds.
Now,
the fuse shot weighed about 108 pounds, I believe. But
which shot did you say? What did you refer to that second one as? That was a solid shot, and then you said the
explosive shot.
Oh, the shell.
Yeah, the shell.
Okay, sorry, Jack.
Yeah, we term it as a shell, don't we?
Yeah. Well, it is a shell.
Oh, yeah.
It comes from the fact that it is an outer, which is a shell. So it's
packed with about 15 to 20 pounds of black powder, but I think there is shrapnel inside as well. So if they could actually set the fuse right to explode in mid-air, that would do more damage basically if it hit the ground.
Well, I think if you can imagine 220 pounds of solid shot coming down, what it's coming down on isn't very armoured, so it's doing the amount of kinetic energy in that dropping out of the sky. Forget about the propulsive charge, that just gets it where it's going. But when that drops out of the sky, it's going to be devastating. It's going to smash a building to pieces because the energy that comes in is going to really do some damage. It's going to obliterate the roof and go through several floors.
2.5 miles.
2.5 miles, so they could stand off the target and give it a good belting. And how many of these did they use at Vicksburg?
Not quite sure of the numbers, but I think they have several. They would have
Right.
just towed them up. They were cheap to make. Basically, it's just a supply of
Yeah.
the mortars themselves, which were very, very
Yeah.
expensive because it's all the material that goes into making one.
Now, as I say, this is not something peculiar to the American Civil War. The ironcladding is, but this kind of arrangement was used right through
This is
black powder
historical.
history.
Oh, yeah.
It just goes back to the British Navy historically.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
American Navy would have used it when it came into being during the War of Independence, and it, in fact, vessels like they were called gondolas. The British called them gondolas, and they were army run in the War of Independence. And we've just done in the theatre of war the Battle of Bunker Hill, and part of the artillery that was firing on the American defenders of Breeds Hill and Bunkers Hill were these army gondolas. They were manned by army personnel. Although they were amphibious, they were floating. They were under army control and using land mortars and everything, and they were dropping bombs on top of the rebels on those positions. Incredibly effective,
Very effective.
because there's no hiding place.
No. Once you get the range, and they could simulate the range by how much powder they would actually put into
Yes.
the gun itself.
Yeah,
If they lowered the powder, less range.
yeah,
But if they had a spot where they wanted to
yeah,
basically to bombard,
yeah,
they were, and it was pivoted. Is around about 45-degree
yeah.
angle.
That's right. But this is
Firing angle.
what you've got to remember is the artillery in all armies was the technical arm. Apart from the engineers, they're sort of associating it together. And you've got there's a science and there's an art to it. It's a black art, black powder and black art, but there is a real art and science to our early artillery, because it's not charts and it's not buttons and electrics. There's a real calculation, and top gunnery officers were able to do this in the heat of battle and calculate the
And
target.
Napoleon was very good at this.
Well, he was a gunner. He was a
was a
trained gunner. Remember that. So
very good.
I mean, you get lots of paintings or whatever of Napoleon, with his hand on the barrel, looking down the barrel and saying, "Right, let him have it with that one." But yeah, he was a gunner, and artillery has always fascinated me. Anyway, I've always loved artillery in warfare, because I think it is. World War One, it was the battlefield weapon part. It was the queen of the battlefield, because no one could hide from artillery. It claimed more lives.
And they say it was the big guns that really killed so many lives.
Absolutely, because the crushing power, just of the projectile coming down, it's not the explosive force of it. It is and it's the same with this weapon. The crushing power of that is immense. You can't imagine that coming down, but even being near it is going to affect you.
Yeah,
It's going to affect you, because bits are going to fly, or it might just, if it came down next to you, never actually hit you. It's going to have an effect on you. And you've got the two options, as you say. You've got the solid shot, which is 220 pounds, and then you've got the explosive shell. And of course, apart from the fragments of the case of the shell, they often put combustible, they call them carcasses, firing carcasses. And then of course I don't think they used them in this war. I don't know, you might get corrected by viewers, but they used red hot shot, and they used to have a furnace on board the ship where they'd actually put the shot with tongs and everything else in the oven, and it would burn, and they did tests as well, and it was all documented. They'd put this red hot shot, which was red hot, and remember, it's hot from the outside to the core. I forget what the calculation was on how long it took to heat up, depending on the size and weight of the shot. Once it was heated up, it took ages to cool down. They did test putting it in buckets of water, got it out, and it still set a charge off. After they'd cooled it, they stuck it for a minute or more in a bucket of cold water or in a container.
But bearing in mind that,
and the water boiled,
and
they got it out, and it was still, they touched match onto it, that's to say cold, with saltpetre, and it'd ignite it. And that is how effective red hot shot was. Mate, bloody dangerous on board ship.
Oh, absolutely. Because if you didn't get the timing right, that's expanding all the time, isn't it?
Yes.
If that expands in the gun barrel,
you ain't going to get it out.
Crash, bang, boil.
And boom, off
go
it goes. Right. But I think the detonation on that is you drop it in and boom, off it goes. So again, keep your head out of the way. Right. So that's that one. And now the final pièce de résistance is...
The monster.
The monster.
This is the USS Chickasaw. Again, she's a flat-bottom ironclad, heavily armed, and by I think she was built around about 1863. She's a class of vessel that basically was designed for the rivers, but she had a deeper draft. 2 turrets, the Ericsson turret, the revolving turret, which was steam worked on a rack and pinion.
Yeah.
The idea was that the actual turret was lifted slightly by about a quarter of an inch.
Right.
8 or 9 mil. Then again, steam worked to actually
rotate it.
Rotate the turret. Bearing in mind that
so the turret cleared the deck, then it was able to rotate just enough to give it clearance.
Yeah. It wasn't always successful because foreign bodies, if they got caught within the turret, it would actually jam it.
Of course it would. Of course it would.
But bearing in mind that with the weight of the turret and the guns, they weigh 200 tons.
What, one turret?
One turret. Yeah.
With the guns in it as well?
With the guns in it. All in working order. That's with the men and all the shot and everything else.
Jack, I love the rust patch on the deck where the chain's been laying. It's again incredible attention to detail.
Balls.
Yeah. And these are again 11-inch Dahlgrens.
Yeah, Dahlgrens. Yeah.
And now that awning is, I mean, what's that? An observation point? The awning under the awning there, or they just have a barbecue up there, or what?
The living conditions below deck was absolutely diabolical.
Oh, so the men are kept up here at night.
Yeah, and she's what they call a turtleback. She's slightly raised in the centre to give them more headroom, but the men were actually kip on top deck. Again,
on the deck itself.
On the deck itself, and in many cases they would have served their meals on deck. They've done the preparation on deck.
Yeah.
Because there's no lighting. There's only these hatches which they could.
Ventilation, they are, aren't they? Really, they're mainly ventilation. The
monitor, she actually had portholes in her top deck, but these haven't. And I have researched it, and as far as I know, the deck was just all covered in.
Good God.
But she was coastal, so she could actually keep close to the coastline, but she was almost seagoing for that reason.
Wow.
But she was a powerful ship.
Yeah, and it's got twin guns in there.
Yeah.
And twin guns in this turret.
That's right.
Wow.
4 guns.
Good God Almighty. And there's the wheelhouse there.
That's the wheelhouse observation.
I like the fact that they've got these awnings on everything, and that presumably, where did this operate? What part of the coast did it operate? Who's moved that ladder?
She's a part of what they call the.
I was waiting to get down out of the wheelhouse. Who put that bloody ladder back?
The
bastard.
You're gonna put that in. She was blockading all the ports, and
in the south.
In the south.
So I'm assuming that might be what the sun awnings are for, because otherwise, if you're sleeping on a hard deck at night, you're hardly worried about keeping the weather off you with a bit of canvas. So I imagine
keeping the sun off you.
That's to keep the sun off the blokes. It was at least a modicum of comfort for the men.
Absolutely, yeah. I think
where's the figure that I saw on this that you had for this, and you had standing on the deck?
That's Perkins. That's Captain Perkins.
Where's he gone?
Where is he?
He's not been stolen, has he?
There he is, yeah.
I reckon they sent in a David and they abducted him. So that's Perkins.
That's Perkins.
There he is. And he was CO of this. Now, you were contacted by a lady about this, weren't you?
Yeah, I can explain it to you in a minute if you like.
That's the thing that you showed us earlier, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's the organisation.
Yeah. No, yeah, so that is what you were referring to.
She was a big ship.
Yeah, and what's the
over 1,000 tons?
1,000 tons, my God! So you saved the biggest for last, Jack.
Yeah, almost.
Good God! Do you mean almost? You're not going to make any more, are you?
No, I'm not.
No, you're done now.
I don't think the missus will permit.
Wow. She said that after the first two.
I think these are observations.
The Monitor and the Merrimac.
Huts. Again, the information on the ship is very, very sceptical.
That's not the privy, is it? On the front there.
It could be, yeah.
Shoot one down the side.
I had a weird arrangement here with the chains. I've actually tried to research this more, but basically, again, it's only by pictures.
Mm.
And
What did she draw in terms of
round about
here?
4 foot, 5 foot.
Only 4. So again, shallow draft.
Flat bottom, complete flat
Yeah,
bottom.
she is, isn't she? So she's
yeah,
not
yeah.
going to be. You're not going to do much in a swell,
no,
is she?
No, no.
But she was for duffing up.
Oh yeah.
And what did she attack? Coastal installations, or was she anti-shipping as well?
Mobile Bay in 1864, I believe.
What, down in where's Mobile Bay? Where's oh God? Is it Louisiana? It's Louisiana, isn't it? What's the matter with me? Good God Almighty!
She attacked the forts.
And did she wiggle waggle her way around the coast doing that? Yeah.
She could have been. Yeah.
Wow.
Again, I really
I tell you what, I would not
would
like
be-
to be going round the coast because you can get
In one of
snap
these
storms and all that. Not flat bottom like that.
No.
I've been across channel on those old ferries that didn't have good stabilisation systems, and my God, the pitch on there, and talk about ill. No, horrible. I would not want to be. I think modern navy, but I wouldn't want to be. Would you want to be a mariner? No.
Not one of these. Not on one of these things. Maybe on a sailing
I mean,
ship,
apart from the
yeah.
fact you're going to get, there's a chance of getting killed. It's the conditions. There's no salvation, or there's no. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but there's no. Shall we say? There's nothing to alleviate your life in any way, shape, or form. Is there on one of these vessels?
Yeah.
It is what it is, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a tin box that could be your tomb. And what was the fate of this ship? Was there a fate, or did it just get decommissioned, have the rivets taken
She
out?
ended up in 1950, I think. She ended her days as a railway. She was a ferry.
Really?
Yeah, on one of the rivers.
Oh, what? So they took the turrets out and whatever, and they put. What did they put?
I think they flattened the deck.
Yeah.
And the idea was that trains would actually come onto
Went
the
on
deck
board?
because she is so wide. Yeah.
Like some of the old cross-channel ferries years ago.
And
Put the trains on board.
A railway ferry or railroad.
What? So to
ferry.
get trains across
One
an
of the rivers,
estuary
yeah,
or a wide river or whatever, where they couldn't span it with a bridge.
River, but then they built a railway bridge. Then they decided.
No, that was the end of
they
that.
didn't need her anymore.
And what year was that then? Where did she come out of
About
service?
1950.
Get out, really? So 90 years.
90 years, yeah.
Wow. Still as a steamboat?
Yeah.
Still operating as a steamboat?
Steam powered.
Or steam driven?
Yeah.
And when they took these guns out, what did they just scrap them or whatever? Not only on this ship.
I should imagine by then, Kevin, that they were probably worn out because I think she really came out of active service around about 1870, 1880. So she served her time, and by then she was really sort of.
They just kept her there for
Yeah.
not for any particular reason, but just because she was available and they had her. I suppose she could have been used for coastal defence as well.
She may have been,
But the thing is, the guns in those type of guns are battering guns. They're not for quick firing for for naval actions where the target's moving.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got a target that's moving away from you. With a gun that size and the amount of.
And the turrets were slow to move as well.
Not only that, but you've then got to put the gun back in because it's got to be loaded. It's all manual.
Yeah, cleaned out.
Everything's manual. Swabbed out and all the rest of it.
Drawn to the firing position.
Yeah.
And that all takes time. And bearing in mind, so being a flat bottom, she's probably unstable.
That's the other thing again.
Oh, yeah.
Broadside, they could not have fired both of them turrets together. Broadside. Couldn't.
No.
I tell
I
you.
reckon that if the Bismarck done a broadside, it would actually move a 50,000 ton ship 3 foot.
It moved the Bismarck in the water.
I don't think she ever done it.
No.
For that reason.
No.
Or she could have heeled over.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of these warships, you'd like to think, particularly when you're a kid and you don't really know about these sorts of ballistics and whatever. You tend to think, well, it looks impressive, and artists often do an artist's impression of an 18-inch gun ship doing a broadside. But I think I don't think it. No, I think the idea is that you've always got. It's a bit like 3 deep line or 4 deep. You've always got weapons loaded, ready to fire, and can keep up a continuous and rolling
rapid fire.
fire.
Because they say that HMS Victory would never do a full broadside, because if she'd done solid shot, all her guns, that would have been 3 ton of shot, plus the force of the guns going off, and she'd done rapid fire.
Yeah,
down the line.
That's right. That's what you do, and that mirrors what the foot soldiers were doing on land, which was firing platoon fire.
Yeah,
they were firing, bang, 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 and it wasn't all in one continuous line. It was intermittent. You'd get one at the left-hand side, then one at the right, and it would. I think it contracted towards the centre, so finally you get the 2 centre platoons that would fire, and by which time all the rest are loaded. So you get a continual rolling salvo or whatever. Because the biggest danger with cavalry hanging about is if you fired and you're in the process of reloading and the cavalry come in, you ain't got nothing to stop them.
No, you've only got your bayonet.
Well, yeah, but even then it's a bit fraught. Yeah. So Jack, I think you've done us
we've got one left,
magnificent tour. One left. What we got now?
We've got a simulation of how they built up the turrets.
Oh, wow.
Just down here.
Oh, right. Yes. I remember this. Yeah. I'm just doing a quick aerial shot of this. If this is the last ship or last ironclad that Jack built. And there's your overview from the top of her. So that's that one.
Right, this is a simulation of the construction of Ericsson's gun turrets. There's 8 layers of rolled out interlocking iron plating, secured by what we call button-headed bolts, probably about 12 to 13 inches long. Button head on the external. This is the outside of the turret, painted black. This is the internal, nut and bolt.
Yes.
And it held the plates all together. So it's 8 inches thick. Each plate is at 1 inch in thickness. But they would have been interlapping, which makes it stronger.
Right.
And the plates could actually be removed and repaired.
Some bloody... And you know what's interesting, of course? It's a bit like fortress construction or medieval spaced armour. When you've got something that's not one layer, 8 inches thick, but is several layers thick, each layer acts as a shock absorber for the other layers. So it dissipates the impact. And I'm assuming that's why it was done. Because and of course, putting it together is going to be easier than one solid. Can you imagine that mass going on the side of a ship? But I think the big benefit is the fact that you've got these, as you say, it's interlocking and spaced armour. So and a lot of this is taken from medieval stuff, and then it's transferred through the Renaissance period and through into the Victorian period, and then finally into the 20th and 21st centuries. And there's, the law of physics tells you there's only so much you can do with metallurgy and so on and so forth. You can come up with perhaps slightly new formulations, but concepts like this are through the ages. So,
because one of the main fear was that a cannonball strike on top of the button bolt would actually shear that off. This would come firing through the turret, probably about 400 or 500 mile an hour.
Really?
Yeah, this is a 12-inch bolt, so this is going to be so effective. It would actually ricochet round the turrets. I think about between the Virginia and the Monitor, a lot of the plates were being loosened because there was turret strikes, and there are some incredible pictures of an indentation of about 2 to 3 inches on the side of the turrets.
Really?
It's mind-blowing to think the momentum or the power that cannonball would have, because basically if you laid something down like that, the amount of tonnage you need to pressurise that shape must come into thousands of tons.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not quite sure of the actual ratio or weight impact that a cannonball would have.
Be massive.
Incredible. It just blows the mind away. But they were very effective.
In the black powder period, there were a lot of instances on the battlefield where young men had, lost a foot or a leg or whatever because they tried to stop what appeared to be a spent
It's spinning,
cannonball.
wasn't
It still had a tremendous amount of momentum, even rolling gently along the ground. And young men, greenhorns, not experienced, veterans, would say, "No, don't touch that," but they'd lose their foot or
Yeah.
whatever.
I think they were still spinning as well.
They were well. No, you're thinking of a hollow shell spinning with the force of the fuse, but I'm talking about a cannonball which has come to the end of its, if you like, energy, but there's still enough energy there of it rolling with its weight and velocity, kinetic energy in it to you try and stop it like a football with your foot.
Yeah.
A young bloke trying,
You tear
young
the foot
soldier, tear your foot off. Yeah, which is what did it. There were
I've heard of it.
numerous
Yeah,
cases in the black powder period, on Napoleonic battlefields or whatever, or even earlier, of young men trying to do that.
So black powder guns can be very effective.
Absolutely, black powder is immensely powerful.
Yeah.
In the ancient period, they had torsion and tension weapons, which were just as powerful as black powder weapons, but black powder restored the concussive. That's why sieges became a lot simpler, because the impact power. I mean, before they used extensively iron cannonballs, they were using stone balls, which are enormous. But the smashing power of those against masonry or whatever was tremendous, and of course iron balls was even greater for a smaller dimension ball. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me about your big dent in the side of the. But what fascinates me is they wouldn't have been aiming to knock those bolts through.
Oh no, just aiming at
What
the
a
turret.
negative side effect of the construction is the fact. Did they do anything to rectify that? Because it's a fault, isn't it? If you knock the head off that,
Yeah.
if you knock the button off, and therefore it's a free agent and it's propelled through inadvertently, but the damage that would do, it would be like, I don't know, hitting a tank turret and shards coming off inside, or even a shot going through and bouncing all round the turret. Same with this to a degree, with that bloody bolt flying round in the turret.
I don't think they really had much option other
Wow.
than bolting, because
So there was no answer to that.
no,
No real answer to it. Wow.
I think there was gas welding coming into its early infancy. but
Right.
They wouldn't have gas welded.
No.
They just didn't have the apparatus or the money
No.
or the time.
So they had to physically bolt them together.
Bolt them together, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Tremendous. So I think we've reached the conclusion.
Okay.
Jack, it's been wonderful. Thanks so much for
pleasure,
Jack.
mate. It really has been a
Thanks
pleasure.
so much for all of your devotion and hard work in producing all of this, and more importantly, for inviting us in for the privilege of actually having a look.
Mate, it's
this-
what friends do. I only hope it rouses some interest.
Oh, mate, if we have a last quick zip round. That's the first one we looked at. Another one up there. Oh my God, wonderful stuff. Quick whiz round here. Look at that. Bloody incredible. Fantastic. Down we go to the monitor. Oh, look at that. Check ashore there. And there they all are. Wow. Jack, as I said, one last thank you so much, Jack. Thank you, Jack.
Okay, son, it's been a pleasure.
Great. Cheers, mate.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
We did. So there we are. I do hope you enjoyed the remarkable models that my friend Jack made. I'm so impressed by his skill and dedication, and really felt that it was very important to share that with other people. At some stage in the near future, we plan to share with you a look at other models and recreations that Jack has made on a number of really diverse ideas. Jack remains a truly remarkable man. I would say he's a working class Michelangelo of modelling, and I believe it's more than worthwhile to show to as many people as possible how wonderful his talents are. Working with Jack on making this 4-part video, it sparked a renewed interest in the American Civil War for me. Way back as a boy, I recall the centenary of the American Civil War, and it was marked in the UK by a real interest in the subject. Many of my schoolmates and we collected the ABC cards and the Confederate dollars while we chewed on the gum and blew bubbles with it. And so then what happened was, oh, by the way, I've still got my cards and the album that I sent away for way back in the 1960s. I went off to the library and I borrowed books on the American Civil War, the Bruce Catton trilogy being a great inspiration, a terrible swift sword it proved to be indeed. Then my friends and I started to experiment with wargaming the American Civil War. Airfix made everything that we needed: the Confederates, the Union, the artillery, and the cavalry. And that was over 60 years ago. In the meantime, I participated in numerous games over the decades, using other people's armies of Confederates and Federals, but I never returned to the period with a collection of figures of my own. That is until now. Jack has sparked an old wargaming flame for me, and together with a few friends, old buddies, we're going to give American Civil War a big bash. It looks like we'll be using the rule set Pickett's Charge, and we'll definitely be gaming with 10mm figures. 10mm scale is a revelation to me. It's remarkably surprising for the quality of some of the ranges that are available, and I'm sold on 10mm for the American Civil War. And I'll be reviewing some 10mm American Civil War ranges in the next couple of months or so. In between then and now, the Theatre of War will video a few of the games that we do using 10mm figures and the Pickett's Charge rules, and we'll be sharing that with you over the next few weeks. So Jack, thanks for building the Ironclads and for rekindling the excitement of the American Civil War in wargaming, although my incredible wife may well raise an eyebrow or two over that. So for now, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again when we present our 10mm American Civil War with Pickett's Charge. Thank you. Bye-bye.